Lastly, I want to talk about religion as a social phenomenon. Okay, so we said that Geertz's definition is limited in a bit in that it kind of ignores the social aspect of religion. But we want to talk about that for a second. So the idea of religion as a social phenomenon, instead of things like supernatural belief system, very specifically, or symbols, in this idea, as a social phenomenon, beliefs get their power from being socially enacted through repeated ritual and repeated social action. Okay, so the power doesn't come from just existing or being written down in a religious text, but the power comes from repeatedly being enacted and reenacted and groups of people engaging in this religious behavior together. Okay, and so by working together and engaging in these religious practices together, the community starts to accept the symbolic interpretation of the world, and so it's more tangible and more authentic. It makes it more real as opposed to simply being an interpretation of a written text. Okay, so it really kind of solidifies the symbolic interpretation of the world around you. Okay, and so religion has this very strong social phenomenon. And then in your textbook for the online course, they talk about religion as a set of supernatural, or a set of beliefs in supernatural forces that functions to provide meaning, peace of mind, and a sense of control over unexplainable phenomena. Okay? And so they've kind of combined maybe a little bit some of these other definitions, focusing on supernatural forces and meaning making and a sense of control. Okay, the textbook we use in the face-to-face class focuses more on symbolic interpretation. Okay, so that's a little bit different. But for this class, your textbook is defining religion as a set of beliefs in the supernatural, focusing on meaning making and controlling unexplainable things in our environment, or at least being able to explain them, which kind of exerts a bit of control over them. There are a few issues in coming up with a definition for religion. Okay, so religious aspects are generally really deeply embedded in other cultural structures, so things like politics, economics, familial relationships, and kinship. And so when we're trying to identify religious practices or religious rituals, it can be hard to separate them from these other aspects of culture. So if you're sacrificing an animal, like the example in the textbook, you're sacrificing an animal to a god. Now, are you doing it as a religious movement, sacrificing that animal to a specific god? Is it part of your subsistence or economic tradition because you spread the meat from that animal to the rest of the community? Is it political? You're establishing some sort of power. Is it familial? Are you continually rebuilding and making kinship relations during this process? So it can be really difficult to isolate religious aspects from other aspects of culture. Okay, and then where we draw the line between what is natural and what is supernatural is different in every society. And so we're going to interpret these things differently, which means we're now interpreting religion differently if the definition centers around supernatural forces. And then a lot of times people will be unable to separate supernatural beliefs from other aspects of culture. And so they will use their religious or supernatural beliefs to support or condemn other non-religious aspects of culture. Okay? And so they're kind of letting their religion bleed out into other aspects of culture, which are non-religious to begin with. So it can be difficult to come up with a definition for religion. And so sometimes anthropological definitions seem very broad. And this is an example of why, because it can be really difficult to kind of define cultural aspects, especially when they're different all over the world and in different cultures, and they're so embedded with other cultural aspects, which in and of themselves are difficult to define.